Problem 9. You have a fraction divided by -2, right? So you have a fraction. The numerator itself is a fraction, and that fraction is 2/7. The whole thing divided by -2. Okay. So notice I will think of this as a fraction also. Because that's a fraction, I'll write this as a fraction. So numerator is a fraction, 2/7. Denominator is a fraction, 2/1. Alright, so that gets us numerator divided by denominator. So numerator is 2/7. I am dividing by denominator, that is -2/1. Alright, so the denominator is here. Well, division by a fraction is multiplication by the reciprocal. So let's see. The first fraction is 2/7. I'm going to multiply by negative reciprocal, 1/2. Okay, so at this point, notice this 2 will cancel this 2. I write the 2 as 2 times 1. I write this 2 as 2 times 1. Then you notice 2 is a factor, so 2 goes away. So overall, positive times negative is a negative. 1 times 1 is a 1/7, right? So negative 1/7. Next question. You have a fraction over a fraction. Okay. So numerator itself is a fraction, 2/4. Denominator itself is a fraction, 3/4. Okay. So this is numerator divided by denominator. Okay. Division by a fraction is multiplication by the reciprocal. So the first fraction continues, and the second fraction you take reciprocal. Right? At this point, see whether there is any reduction. That 4 reduces this 4. I'll rewrite this 4 as 4 times 1, and that 4 also as 4 times 1. Okay, negative times negative is a positive. This 4 cancels this 4. So I have 2/3. Alright, overall 2/3. Next problem. Okay, the average. How do you take average? You add all the numbers and divide by the total of numbers. 3, -16, 14, -2, 8. So you want to find the average. What do? Take the sum and then divide by the number of numbers, right? So you're looking for sum, that is the total. Total will be 3 plus -16 plus 14 plus -2 plus 8. So let's figure this out. 3 minus 16 plus 14 minus 2 plus 8. What did I do? Positive followed by a negative is a negative. Positive followed by a negative is a negative. Okay. So at this point, go from left to right. 3 minus 16 is negative 13 plus 14 minus 2 plus 8. Again, negative 13 plus 14. Well, that's more with a positive. So 1, negative 2 plus 8, which is same as 1 minus 2 is a negative 1 plus 8, which is finally 7. This is the total. How many numbers do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So average equals 7 over 5. How do they want? Use decimal if necessary. Well, let's try 7 over 5 and see whether they accept it. Okay, they don't want you to write it in that fashion. They want you to write in decimal form. So, okay, 7 over 5. 7 goes inside. 5 stays outside. 7 is nothing but 7 dot 7 point, however many zeros you need, right? Let's see. 5 goes in 7 once. That's a 5. Subtract 2. Okay. Now to bring that next 0 here, I'll take that decimal above the decimal. Okay, place a decimal above this decimal. That gets me a 20. 5 goes in 20 4 times. And you are done with the division because you have remainder 0. So that is 1.4. Okay. Next problem. You want to multiply using decimals. You want to divide using decimals. Okay. So the way you would multiply is first multiply as though you don't have decimals. So 58, 0, 3. 0, 3 is nothing but 3. Okay, multiply without the decimal point. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 2 17. Okay, we finished multiplication. Now remember the decimal points. So there was a decimal point here and there was a decimal point here, which means there are 2 decimal places, 1 and 2. 1 and 2. So that's 1.74. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So there should be 2 digits after decimal points. Alright. Now likewise the division. Division is easier in some sense. So you have 51.15. You are dividing by 0.5. So notice I can move my decimal place either to the left or to the right. But whatever I do to the numerator, I must do to the denominator, and vice versa. So why don't I move this to the right one place? I move it to the right one place, I move this to the right one place. So what does that give me? That gives me 511.5 divided by 0.5. You see, 0.5 is nothing but 5. Yeah, I don't need the 0. So I'm going to divide this decimal number by 5. So I can do it using long division. So 511.5, I'm dividing by 5. Okay, it helps first of all place a decimal point above decimal point and then proceed. 5 goes in 5 once. That's a 0. I bring down the 1. 5 doesn't go in 1, so I need to bring in the next one. So I'm going to be dividing 5 in 11. 5 goes in 11 2 times. So I have to write the 2 above the second one, you see. So what happens above the first one? There was nothing. So that's a 0. Alright. So 2 goes in. 5 times 2 is a 10. That gets me remainder of 1. Now decimal, above the decimal, I can bring down the 5. 5 goes in 15 3 times. Okay, 102.3. Alright, so that completes elementary O4. Next video will cover elementary O5. Until then,